So last night I watched my first 2019 release, and it was one of a handful of female directed films that were released yesterday, mostly on VOD and limited because, as we well know, most films directed by women are released in that way. And it's very important that if you want to support female filmmakers, that you see these limited films if you're in the markets, and if not, then rent their films on VOD. I know that the stats for VOD are not counted the same way, and that is some horseshit because it effectively um, hurts the numbers mostly for women. But that's neither here nor there. The film I watched is called State Like Sleep, and it's written and directed by Meredith Danluck. It actually had its premiere, I believe, at the Tribeca Film Festival last year, where The Orchard picked it up. The Orchard has picked up several films directed by women in the last year or so. They earlier this fall released Karen Gillan's directorial debut, and I think they picked that up at Tribeca as well. So it's important to pay attention to not just the films that are being um, launched at festival season by female directors, but to see who's picking them up and when are they releasing them, so you can keep up and find these films. And thankfully, this film was released in a way that I could watch it. Actually, it was here in Atlanta, but I didn't notice that till after I rented it. It's in that same South Lake AMC that's totally in the boonies. But apparently, that's where the Orchard has a deal here in Atlanta, and I'm kind of bummed. I almost wish I'd seen this in theaters because it's beautifully shot, and the cinematographer shot. I looked this up yesterday. It's oh god, my internet being sucky. Cinematographer has shot a few things in the last couple of years. It's Christopher Blauvelt. I am saying that completely wrong. He shot Zodiac. He shot mid 90s. He shot The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby a couple years back. He shot Night Moves for Kelly Reichardt, The Bling Ring, Meek's Cutoff. He's shot a lot of things with women. He's done a whole lot with female directors. That's great. He did not shoot Zodiac. Apologies. He was a camera operator on Zodiac. Cut his teeth working on Fincher and then started making films with women. Kind of fantastic. So the film stars Katherine Waterston as a woman who has just lost her husband to what appears to be suicide. She is an American living abroad. Her husband was a Belgium film star about to make it big in a big studio genre flick. You find out that their marriage was quite rocky, especially towards the end, through a series of flashbacks. And the film starts bang with the suicide, and then you sort of lead up to it through these flashbacks in her memory. Really, as she's in places, she's remembering or experiencing things. She's remembering their past, and the way memory works, where you're always in the present, but in the past as well, because everything generally reminds you of other things. The husband is played by Michiel Huisman, and I'm not sure that I've seen him in anything else, but he was quite good in this, and you could see him as a sort of entertainer type who also has deep what's the word I'm looking for, deep insecurities and addiction issues. Like it all felt very natural and realistic. The Katherine Waterston's mother is played by Mary Kay Place, and her plot was one of the few kind of plot points that I didn't think quite worked. It's sort of adding more trauma than I felt was necessary for the story. Except that it was, current trauma and past traumas all mixed together. So, in current situation with past situation. So, I guess it's sort of secular. You also have Luke Evans as a bleach blonde seedy nightclub owner who has a connection to the husband. You find out as the story progresses. Michael Shannon as a mysterious businessman who is staying in the same hotel as Katherine Waterston's character, as she is finally packing up her husband, or the house she lived in with her husband, as well as finally dealing with her grief. And So this is a film that seems like it's a film noir because it starts out sort of, did he kill himself? You don't actually see if he did that, and she's still so in shock from what happened that she's slowly, as she's coming out of this title, State Like Sleep, she's starting to look at the mysterious circumstances surrounding the suicide and the end of her marriage, and gets her questioning everything. And so she's dealing with her grief through investigating his last few days. Did he really commit suicide? Did somebody kill him? You'll find out. The film is not just a genre picture, though. It is very much about the way in which we deal with grief and the way we push people away, and the 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 problem with trying to find comfort in others, and if it's possible to find comfort in others at any point in your life. That's what this film is about, and so they use noir trappings to investigate, if you will, stages of grief. People who want a straight up genre film are going to be disappointed, just like they were disappointed with Widows. People who are okay with films that sort of cross a bunch of different places and try a bunch of different things will probably find something to like in this film. Michael Shannon steals every scene he's in. He is such a good actor. I will always watch a film he's in. He makes so many movies though. He's one of those guys that releases like 6 films a year, and so I'm never gonna catch up, but I'll keep trying. I found Katherine Waterston incredibly watchable. She almost feels like a Carey Mulligan performance in that it's very internalized uh, and then expressed through body language. So there's not a lot of dialogue for her, but there's a lot of movement and there's a lot of face work. And I love that kind of acting. I love where you just feel it through their body and not through, expositional dialogue. Um, and she's a great, great pixie cut at the end. I'm not sure about the haircut at the beginning, except that I've seen many a, fashionable girl with a haircut like that, so it's probably not that out of place, but it didn't quite suit her face, I didn't think. The pixie cut suit her face. So again, it's so beautifully shot. Like there's a sequence where she goes through a Chinese market, and the yellow of it, it's at night, and the yellow of it is so like Wong Kar Wai esque. It was great. Um, so I enjoyed this film. It's definitely not as neo noir as I was expecting it to be, but once you get past that and realize that that's not really what this film's trying to do, and that it's using genre trappings to explore something else, I think you'll get into the groove of it and you'll enjoy it. But maybe you won't. I don't know. That's up for you. But I did. I liked it because it was a mixture of two of my favorite things, grief and noir. So this is State Like Sleep. It's written and directed by Meredith Danluck. It is in limited release right now, all across the country, probably in an AMC because that's where a lot of these Orchard releases end up, and on VOD, so you can rent it for $7 pretty much anywhere, Amazon, Google, iTunes, etc. It's going to be half of what you're going to pay pretty much anywhere else in the big markets, and you can make your own popcorn. So I suggest watching it and putting your money where your mouth is and supporting the handful of female directors who get their films released every year. So this is State Like Sleep